Hi, everyone, and welcome. This is Chris from Docketwise, and I'm glad that you were able to attend our webinar on our new features roundup for the most recent features, which were introduced during the final quarter of 2021. If you would like to learn more about any specific feature discussed, please, of course, feel free to reach out to our team and or visit our help center or our YouTube channel, which will both be linked below in the video if you are watching the recording on YouTube. So in this webinar, we will be going over some of our most recent features, which include attachments to email messages, the ability to include a custom message with shared invoices, the ability to preview files within Docketwise, a recents display to show recently visited contacts and matters, an expanded reminder system for events, expanded reminders for expiry dates, smart forms version 3.0 with package assembly, DS160e filing, results per page options on dashboards and reports, and finally, we will get to bulk sharing and bulk downloading of invoices in Docketwise. So first, let's get started with our new feature for attachments to email messages. So with this new feature, you can easily send attachments with outgoing email messages made in Docketwise. So to demonstrate, let's say we're going to create, let's say we actually have a repeat client who just retained us for a new H-1B case, and we would like to send out the retainer agreement. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and click the Create New button. I'm going to go ahead and choose here, I'm going to choose Message. And then after I click on Message, I'm going to choose, of course, the recipient. So this will be Employer Corp. So after Employer Corp is selected, I'm going to go ahead and also say this to the matter. And here I'll choose the matter. This will be for Patrick Starr. And let's say for this one, I'm going to choose a template. So I'm going to choose the welcome email. And then to include an attachment, simply all I'm going to do is click on the attach files option right here. So here I'll, of course, filter by the client. And this is, of course, belonging to Employer Corp. I had uploaded that documents or file to be related with Employer Corp when I uploaded it to Docketwise. So we'll choose them. And then the file here, it is the retainer agreement between them, between them and us for their new prospective H1B Patrick Starr. So I'll choose that and go ahead and click on Attach File. So there we go. We have our attached file right there. And we can go ahead and click on Send Email right here. So next, we're going to go ahead and get on to our new feature that allows you to share a custom message in conjunction with your shared invoices. So now with this new feature, actually, you're able to share a custom message when you're sharing an invoice via email. So this can be used for whatever you might need or whatever need you might have, whether it is to provide specific instructions or details regarding the invoice payments, including a greeting and so on. So I can set a default custom message for my invoice under settings where all of them would have that by default. And then I can also change this on a case-by-case basis when sharing an invoice. So first, let's navigate over to our invoice settings to set out this default invoice setting. So I'll go to settings over here, and then I'll access invoice settings. And then I'll search for the option that says set a default custom message when sharing invoices by email. So we see that option right here. I'll go ahead and check that box. And I'll say, let's copy the footer as part of the message. And then also we'll add a new part that says, please note that all attorneys' fees must be paid for the filing of your, say, petition application. And then once I have this the way I like it, I can actually expand this right here, just make sure I see it all. I can go ahead and click on Save Changes. All right, so after making that change, that will, like I said, appear as the default message for invoices. So let's go ahead and see that in action. I'm going to go ahead and create a new invoice, actually. So let's say I want to go to that matter. This is for H-1B for Patrick Starr. From here, I click on create new and do invoice. And when I do that, actually, just on a side note, it will automatically select the primary contact of this matter and the matter to be related. So I'll go ahead and create this invoice. I'll add some charges, of course, let's say attorney's fees and ordinary costs. Say 4,500 and ordinary costs as an expense. Let's say 150. So we have this now, and let's say we want to go ahead and share it. All we'll have to do is click on the share button right here, and we'll click on the option to, we'll click on the option to send. So right here, we have it going out to the clients, and we have the custom message in here already. But let's say I want to add a custom greeting, maybe just correct my typo too. So I can, maybe let's just say I want to include a salutation here. I know who this is going to. It's going to their HR manager, Tammy. So I'll just say, hi, Tammy, include that as a salutation, and then review it, and we are good to share the invoice. So when she gets this invoice, of course, she'll have this invoice as she normally would in conjunction with this custom message that I shared with her. And like I said, I could have shared maybe custom instructions or just anything else that I would have wanted to in this section here. So we're good to go, and I'll click on share invoice. All right, so now that invoice is that invoice is shared, let's move on to our next new feature for previewing files within Docketwise. So let's actually move back to our dashboard, and we can move on to that next topic. So now you can preview files within Docketwise for whatever need you might have, whether it is reviewing a file that a client uploaded before downloading it or before including it in your smart form package, or just to confirm information that's provided in the questionnaire and make sure it's consistent with the information that's in the document and what was provided by the client, and so on. The examples could go on for a while there. So for each file on Docketwise, there's actually a new updated tooltip. I'll take you over to the files dashboard so you can see this, and you can see this tooltip here. So we have the option to edit the file's name, we have the option to download the file, and we have the option to preview the file. So let's say in this hypothetical scenario, Patrick Starr, the foreign national, the beneficiary of the new H-1B case, let's say that he is, or he's already uploaded some documents. We want to check them out just to make sure that we can include them in our filing a little later. So we can either, of course, go to the files dashboard and check it from there, or I can just go to his contact overview and click on files and then just see his files. So here, I'm not sure what files they are. He just had uploaded document. So let's check them out. Can click this icon right here to preview, and we'll see what it is. So these are his university transcripts, and it looks good. So I can go ahead, click out of here, and I'll rename that while I'm at it. So these are transcripts. Let's go ahead and look at this other file he uploaded, see what it is. So we'll click on the icon again, and we can see here in the preview of his PDF that it is a, I guess, a diploma. So we can close out of here, and we know what this is now, and let's just rename it to make sure we know what it is. And we are good to go. So let's go ahead and do not click enter as I should have. There we go. So now we've previewed those those files are indeed what we're looking for, they're correct, and that we can go ahead and include them in the smart form package once we get to that step. So now actually let's move on to our next new feature, which is a recents display. So in order to make navigating Docketwise even more streamlined and user-friendly, we have added a recents display to the universal search bar. This universal search bar will show both contacts and matters that you have recently accessed and visited. So let's say that I leave this contact. I see I have a new chat and I want to go check that out and see what's going on here. So I can see in the client intake group here, we have a new PNC, and they want to set up a consultation on 1/18 at 2 p.m. Under court. Okay. All right. So I've checked this out. Let me actually check out that lead to see if there's anything else I need to know about that. So I can see here, this is the lead. And let's see if I want to, there are no notes here yet. Okay. But it looks like I will get this set up. Let me check my events real quick. Looks like I'm relatively open on the 18th. So we're good to go. But let's say I want to transition back to another contact or matter that I was just recently on. After doing all of that, let's say I just click on the universal search bar right here, the new recents display, and I can click on Patrick Star where we just were. So let's go back to Patrick Star. And let's say if we need to record any notes here, we do that. And let's say we just need to head back over to the matter for Patrick Star under Employer Corp. We could just click on Recents again and go to the matter where we just were. All right. So the next thing we're actually going to get into is we're going to get into our new feature for expanded email reminders for events. So let me just get over to the events dashboard over here. And so with event reminders in Docketwise, you can easily set reminders via email for upcoming events. And these events can actually arrive to yourself, your colleagues, and your clients. So using these reminders, you are able to indicate exactly how long before the event you would like to have the reminder be sent. And you're able to indicate additional reminders. So I could have one reminder, I could have 5 reminders, or however many I want. And then the people who are receiving those reminders are the attendees. So let's go ahead. Let's say we want to set up our consultation for that lead we had, the potential new client. So I'll go ahead here and click on the 18th, and let's say consultation with Merger Corp. Here I'll of course just put the correct time in. That will be 2 p.m. To 2:30 p.m. let's say. So I've gotten my dates correct here. I'm going to go ahead and choose the attendee. So that will be of course myself. So I'll type in my email, or I can type in my name even, and I could just choose myself. So firm members, choose myself. Let's say I want to have Eliana from the intake team in here as well. I can type in her name. I'll choose her. And then I will also choose the lead that will be attending the event as well. So that will be Patty Cakes from Merger Corp. So I'll go ahead and choose that lead, and we'll choose the calendar. Of course, this will be a meeting. And now we get to the fun part of adding the notification. This is toggled on automatically. I did not get to the settings for this quite yet, but we can have it so it automatically adds one or multiple notifications. So I will add a notification, let's say 1 hour before. I'd like them just to be ready before, of course, and then 1 day before, just so they have it in their mind the day coming up. So 1 hour and 1 day before, and those email reminder notifications will go to myself, my intake team member, as well as the prospective lead that I have added here as well. So I'll go ahead and save this event. And there we go. So as I had mentioned before, there is actually a way to set default reminders, event reminder settings. So the way to do that is go to settings, and then here we'll just click on event settings. So here we have the option to have default notification settings enabled, and we would choose the calendar. And then here we would choose, let's say how long before. So 1 hour before, 1 day before. Let's say generally that's how we're reminding our staff and our clients. It's just 1 hour before, 1 day before. So we'll save these changes, and then we'll go ahead back to events. So now you'll see if I click a new event, it will automatically have those reminders populated. And as I mentioned before, if I want to change them, I can remove them if I want to as well. I can do that. So while we're on this topic of event reminders, let's jump on to our next feature, which is actually for expiry date reminders. So similar to expanded events, our expanded expiry date reminders allow you to set up one or multiple reminders for an expiry date and indicate exactly how long before the reminder, how long before the expiration date you would like those reminders to be sent. So we'll start actually in settings this time, and we'll go over setting up a default expiry date setting. So we'll go to settings, as I mentioned, and click on expiry date reminders. And here, let's say we want to set one up for LCA. So we'll click on new reminder settings. We'll choose LCA from the first option. And here we will click on the place where we want it. So let's choose expiry date reminders. I had made a calendar for that in events. So I've chosen that. And here we choose who would like to be reminded. So the admin, of course, would be the admins or the admin of the Docketwise account. All members of the firm would, of course, be all members included. And the client assignees would be those members of the firm who are assigned to the client. So let's say we want all members of the firm to be notified for this. And let's say we want one 3 months in advance. We also want one, let's say 6 months in advance as well. So now we've completed, I guess, all the reminders that we want for this, for the particular LCA. So let's go ahead and save the reminder settings. Okay, so we're going to go over to Hermes, actually, who has an H-1B case, and we're going to update the LCA expiration just so we can keep track of that. So on the contact overview page, we'll go to expiration dates, and we'll go find the place for LCA expiration. So we'll say this is 12/12/2023. And we'll go ahead and hit enter. So you can see it's setting this reminder. And once I refresh, that should be set. So we can go ahead and click on view reminder. And here we'll be taken to the reminder. So you can see here, all of my firm members have been added as attendees. They will be reminded both 3 months in advance and 6 months in advance of the expiration date. So I'll go ahead, and I didn't make any changes, so I can just X out of here. And let's get on to our next topic. So we'll jump into our new feature for Smart Forms 3 by basically preparing the forms for that new H-1B case that we had just started. So we'll use our new feature for Smart Form 3.0 with packet assembly. I'll start out by just going to matters over here, and then I will locate the matter for this case we just started. So this one, of course, is Patrick Starr. We have not gotten started yet. I'll go ahead and click on create new and choose forms. So here, what we have is basically our first step. And what I want to bring to your attention first is our improved navigation. We have our assemble step here, our invite step here, intake step here, and review here. The assemble is where you are able to select your forms and files that you would like to include, assign the forms and context, as well as other options for assembling the packet, which we'll go over more in depth in just a moment. The invite tab right here is, of course, where you can send and monitor your invitations to your clients and collaborate in order to collaborate on the intake. Next, third is the intake tab. So this is the questionnaire portion, or the smart form questionnaire portion of the form, from which all the information provided will, of course, be populating the forms. And finally, the review tab is basically where you are able to see and review all of your USCIS or other forms that have been filled in, and then where you're able to see your entire packet. You're able to see everything else there as well, including the files that are included. The other things that I want to mention are also some other cool new features for this are, as I mentioned, the invite tab has the ability to invite the contacts and then have the ability to monitor the status of the invitation. The packet assembly feature, as I had mentioned, we can add files here and then have those basically be joined with the forms that you have included. And as part of that packet assembly feature, we've also included the ability to have a table of contents as well. And so let's start where it's an H1B case. So we're going to add the forms here. Let's say it'll be premium processing. So we're going to do an I-907, 129, of course, and finally G28. So here, let's say that for this, I want to have, of course, the petition company will be the petitioner. And if I want to apply this to all forms to have the petitioner be marked as employer corp, I can simply just click this right here, and that will apply that to the other forms as well. So for the beneficiary, this will, of course, be Patrick Starr, who is the foreign national, and I will choose that. And likewise, if I want to apply this to all forms to have him be the beneficiary, I can do that. So I will click apply to all forms. And then since actually the G28, on the G28, the petition company will be signing, they're the party being represented. I will have that actually assigned to the petition company. So I'll put employer corp in here. And there we go. So as I had mentioned, I can actually choose a table of contents. So the only thing I have to do is actually check this button or check this box right here, and then I will automatically have a table of contents included. Also, another thing I want to mention is that I can reorder the forms here. So let's say, of course, the G28 will be first. I can go ahead and reorder them how I see fit. So I'll go G28, I-129, I-907. I think that makes the most sense for organizing them. And let's say I also want to add some files. So I already have some files in from the foreign national beneficiary that we had reviewed just a moment ago. And so in order to add a file, I can just click right here. And I can search for the file by either the contact's name or either by the file's name. So let's say since it was the foreign national beneficiary, it's just going to be easier to locate his files just by typing in his name. So type in his name here, and we can see the diploma and transcripts. So select the diploma and transcripts, and we have them both included. So next, let's actually move on, since I believe we have everything we need here. And we'll click on Save and Proceed, and we'll be taken to the next step for invite. So here in the invite tab, I can see all the parties in my form. The invitation that I send here, of course, I will be able to see the invitation status of that as well. So the only thing I have to do to invite the contacts that are actually included in the form is click on the invite button next to their name. If I want to invite another person besides these included parties, let's say it was a mother filling out a form for her toddler or something, there's of course the option to invite somebody else who isn't a party specified in that exact form. So let's go ahead and actually send out the invitation for employer corp. So all I have to do is click invite right here, and then we'll see it's automatically selected as the contact that I would like to invite. And we have the options which we can select. So I'll say that I would like to share it via email, and I will just send out the invitation. And let's also send out the invitation for the foreign national beneficiary. All I have to do is click invite right here next to their name. And then let's say I'll share it via email as well. And then let's say I want to customize the access so he only has access to the questions related to himself. So I'll go ahead and click invite, and he's invited as well. So I can see the status for both are invited, and also down below I can see the invitations that have been sent out. So this one was sent out, of course, January 13th, 2022, and this one was as well. If I need to resend these, I can of course click on the resend button right here. So we'll go ahead and proceed to our intake step. So the intake tab, as I mentioned before, is the questionnaire portion of the smart form, from which the information provided will populate the actual forms included. This can be both filled in by you and filled in by the contacts that are invited to collaborate and provide the information that is necessary as well. So for the most part, this section has remained the same. However, there are some changes that I would like to point out. The More Actions button has actually been changed into the 3 vertical dots, which you can see near the top right corner of the screen. And here I'll click on this. You can see we have all of the options we did before, but we also have a new option of share documents. So what this does is it gives you the option of sharing the smart form packet in either entirely or in part with your contact or with any contact you'd like to. So let's say I'd like to send it, for example, if I wanted to send the entire packet, I could leave all of these boxes checked. If I wanted to send the completed forms for the review and signature, I could uncheck the table of contents and all the documents as such that I did here. Also, there's the option to send it as an editable PDF. Of course, that's not something I want to do if I were having them review the forms and I didn't want them to make changes without me knowing. So I'll go ahead and click out of here. And one thing I did want to mention also is that this option is also available in the Review tab. So we'll go ahead and click on the Review tab, and you can see here that that option is also available here. And while we're on the Review tab, let's actually get onto that. So in the Review tab, I can see my table of contents, which has been automatically generated along with all of my forms and files that I will be included in the packet. So one thing that I would like to note is that I can change the names of the forms and the files that are included here. And I can do that by going over back to the assemble step. So actually on that note, let's go back to the assemble step. Sorry, wrong click. So let's say I want to change this to form G28 instead. Form G28, form I-129, form I-907, and let's call this beneficiaries diploma. Let's call this beneficiaries university transcripts. And we will save that change as well. And it looks like we are good to go here. So we'll go ahead and save those changes, and we will proceed to the Review tab. So while we're in the Review tab, I just wanted to point out here as well, this is how you can access the other forms, go back to the table of contents and access the files here as well. So if I wanted to go to the diploma, of course, all I have to do is select that and I'm taken to that file. And while we're here, also I wanted to note the navigation here. So in the top right corner, you'll see a printer icon that is to print the entire packet as one PDF file. The black bar across the top of the screen, you'll also see another printer icon. That is just to print either that one table of contents, that one form, that one addendum, or that one file. So yes, if you want to print all, that would be in the top right corner. But if you would just want to print one at a time, that would be the printer icon in the black bar across the top of the screen. So now, let's say we want to make some additional changes here. We can make some additional changes with by turning form sync off. So if I turn form sync off right here, I actually have some additional abilities to edit the table of contents, as I would, I guess, maybe let's say a Word document or Google Doc. So let's say the first change I want to make is I just want to change the alignment here, have that a little more justified to the right-hand side. And let's say that I also want to, let's say just add another place for like a space between documents and forms. So I'll call this supporting documentation. And of course, I'll add a space in there as well, which would be nice. But I did this wrong. So let me go back. What I want to do is actually add a row below. So I'll click on this row below, put this in here. And let's say I want to bold it, I'll just do Control B. And there we go. So I've made a separation between my forms and documents. And After, of course, all the forms are completed, all the documents, the questionnaires are completed and all the documents are in, I could go ahead and complete this. So let's go ahead and actually, while we're on the topic of forms, move on to our new feature for the DS160. So first, let me just open up a DS160. All right, so with our new DS160e filing feature, you can take advantage of our smart forms to gather and input all necessary information and electronically file the DS160, making it more efficient than ever. Once the information has been entered into Docketwise and submitted, a new DS160 application will be created on the CEAC website with all of the information provided with just a couple of clicks. So let's say that we are working on a DS160. Let's just say for this hypothetical scenario, it's someone who's coming over, an executive from a foreign branch, and they're coming over to help negotiate a contract. So we're preparing a DS160 for B1. Yeah, let's go from here. So all we have to do to start e-filing is click this button. If we have any issues that will be brought to our attention, I do want to note that the CEAC website, it does have a lot of, I guess, let's say, certain formatting requirements, validations that they need. The information needs to be presented in a certain form. So we actually do check that for you, and we let you know if something is not in an acceptable format in order for us to make that application and e-file it. So let's click on this first and see if everything we have entered is correct or ready to go for the CEAC platform. After I click this, let's see what happens. So I'm told here in this error, please fix the following before we can e-file. So contact mobile phone number. If I click this, I'll be brought directly to the question, and I will have an explanation for the error as well and how I can correct that. So I'll click this, and I'm brought directly to the mobile phone number, and it says the mobile phone number can't be blank, must be 5 to 15 digits with no spaces or hyphens. So I don't have spaces, but I do have hyphens. So I'll go ahead and take those out and save this. And I'll head back to the application tab, which is where I can attempt this again. So in order to attempt to validate this again, I'll just click on Save and Validate. And it looks like the validation did go through. So I'll click on e-file this form. And this step generally can take a couple of moments after I fill in this information. So what I'm doing here is first selecting where it's going to be. So this is in Colombia, Bogota. Here we would just select a security question. Here's the list that CEAC provides, and this information will be used to access that e-filing application that's created on the CEAC platform. So let's just say Maiden, just for example's sake. And I will click on Submit here. And as I had mentioned, this can take a few moments. While this is going on, let's jump into our next new feature for results per page options on dashboards and reports. So let's first go over to a dashboard. Let's choose the Forms dashboard. And with our expanded results per page options, you can easily select how many results per page you are that are displayed on your dashboard and in reports. So this results per page option is available on the dashboards for forms, matters, contacts, tasks, notes, files, and invoices. For reports, this is available for the contacts reports of contacts over time, VMAX, expiry dates, form invitations. For lead reports, it's leads over time, lead conversions over time. For matter reports, it is matters over time. Invoice reports, we have it for invoices over time and invoice charges over time. And finally, payment reports, we have it for payments over time. So let's actually see this feature in action. You can see here, we have it set at 10 right now. So we're seeing 10 results per page. If we want to, we could actually change that to 25 or 50. Let's say we do 25 first, and we can see 25 results here. Now, if we go to contacts as well, we'll see 25 results. Let's go to one of our reports as well that supports this. Let's choose contacts over time. And we can change this. Let's say we want to see 50 per page. So now after selecting this, we have 50 results per page that we are able to see, just in case you would like to see more information without having to flip through the pagination. And next, let's jump into our final feature, which is bulk sharing and bulk printing of invoices. So now in Docketwise, you can easily share and download invoices in bulk. So let's head on over to our invoices dashboard over here. And invoices can be shared in bulk via email or text messages. And once they are sent, the contact will be able to, they will receive a link to be able to download a zip file that contains the PDF copies of the invoices. And when downloading bulk invoices, you are able to download a zip file that contains the PDF copies of these selected invoices. So let's go over for a demonstration. Let's say that Employer Corp, they're just requesting that the PDF copies of all invoices be resent to them. So I'll click on the checkbox for all Employer Corp invoices. From here, after I select all the checkboxes, I'll click on More Actions, and then I'll click on Share Invoices. So what I want to do from here is I'll enter who I'm sending these to. It's of course Employer Corp. So I'll select them and we'll be sending it via email. So all I have to do is click on Share Invoices and they'll get a link to download the zip file that contains all of those that I selected. Next, let's say, for example, that's my bookkeeper reached out to me and she said she needs all PDF copies of invoices for the month of October for last year. So all I have to do is actually select all of these, and just to note, I failed to mention in the hypothetical scenario, my bookkeeper and I collaborate on a Google Drive where we have these. So I want to download these, so I'll be able to upload them to our shared Google Drive. So I selected all of the invoices from the month of October, and just to download them, all I have to do is click on More Actions and click on Download the Invoices. So after that, I'll just have a zip file downloaded with all of those selected invoices that I'll be able to do whatever I would like to do with those. So let's jump back actually to our DS160 just to see if that has been filed yet. So here we are on DS160, and it is loading. Perfect. So we can see that the e-filing was complete. We have this success message across the top. And of course, we have the application ID with all the information that we'll need to access that on the CEAC platform. So once this information is entered there, you'll be able to access that application. And finally, from there, you would review the information that was entered and, of course, just finish the submission of your application. And that does it. I hope you all enjoyed the webinar today and were able to learn more about our new features. I hope to see you all in the next webinar.